This is a new intro for the Fifth Trooper podcast because we're live.
Completely royalty free, so we don't get hit by a Twitch takedown, you know?
Coming at you live from Hastings, New York. This is Jay Shalansky, joined by Evan Bulris.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going real good, Evan. You feeling excited with our new music?
Yes, considering we don't have to pay for it, I'm very excited.
All right, I'm going to stop that. So, hey, everybody. Welcome to the live edition of the Fifth Trooper podcast. I'm sure you may not be joining us live because this is the middle of the day, but, you know, between quarantine and everything else going on, we figured, screw it. Let's do a live show. We haven't done one in a while, and this is the new season, right? So, episode 5, live from New York. Pretty fun. So Evan, what's up, man? How are you?
Pretty good. It's not miserably hot. It's like cool enough. I've got my legalized drugs and murder raccoon shirt on. I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah, things have been going good. I'm really excited. We got a lot of fun stuff going on here at the Fifth Trooper network. So a little housekeeping. Let's do this quickly. So next week is a very exciting week, roughly Wednesday. I'm hoping for a Wednesday launch. We will be putting out all our retail stuff. So we're going to have Bolt Action, Blood Red Skies, Cruel Seas, Oak and Iron, Elder Scrolls miniature game. We're going to have basing materials. We're going to have, there's something else that I'm missing. Oh, the most important piece. Our new 3x3 mats will be on pre-order starting Wednesday next week. So we're going to have a lot of options for you guys, you know, to buy and give us your money, basically. So it's going to be great. Oh boy, Evan's in chat already talking. Okay, so but anyway, so we today's cast, we were gonna go over some of the closings of events, right? Most of them are closed now.
Yeah, I think
we can start there. Let's just go ahead. What's bumming you out the most, Evan? We all know. I mean, I know, but I don't think the listeners know. What's bumming you out the most?
Nova, definitely. That was my vacation. Every year, Nova, like I just bring my car to valet. Say, here, take this. I am going to be inebriated for a few days and play games.
Right.
And I'll come back and we'll figure it out after. Nova was a big bummer. Also, if you're listening to this and you were going to Nova, make sure you cancel your hotel room. Don't forget about that, or else you're gonna get hit with a bad, claim. But that stinks. I think the only one still on the line that I can think of is maybe Dragon Con and then maybe Origins. They pushed it back to October, but
I mean,
at this rate,
well, and you have PAX Unplugged, right? And that's early December.
I've never missed a PAX either.
Yeah, if things turn around in the next 3 months, maybe that'll be the first big one.
Yeah,
besides Origins, maybe.
Yeah, I hope that it's the way things are with just how social distancing and all that jazz, like we'll ever see a big one again in a couple of years. Like, it's just, unfortunately, like, man, when you go to PAX and stuff, you're like packed, like, front to back, trying to get in there, waiting in a line, waiting in queues. And there's some states who are saying they're getting surged again. Due to many reasons. But so we'll see. Like, I want to go. Like, man, like I didn't realize how much it was going to bum me out until like Gen Con, like we're going, but I'm like, well, that's one less thing. Adepticon was bummer too. And then Nova was like the big hit. Yeah. I'm like, that was the last swing.
Yeah. I mean, and so along those lines, like, I feel like we try to be as honest with you guys as possible. And this is something, honestly, that Evan just brought up that's kind of bothering me now that I'm thinking about it. And why not air it live on our podcast? I don't like how Nova treated you, frankly.
It entails to what?
Like, you didn't get your Nova package? Like,
that was
or even the option?
Yeah, that was a little bit of a bummer. I mean, yeah, that stinks. I get it. Like,
I don't. So here's the thing. Adepticon. So for those of you that don't know or don't go to Adepticon or any show really, you can generally buy a larger package, right? That you get a bunch of free shit in, right? So we do that for Adepticon. We got the VIP package, which comes with a bunch of games. Like, it's not free because you're paying for it, right? And then Adepticon asks, the vendors to like donate stuff for advertising. And so, like, what was it, two years ago, Legion, the core set was in it. Last year, you and I got A Song of Fire and Ice, right?
Yep.
The core
we did
for that. So, we did Adepticon. We were going to be there. We were going to be a vendor at Adepticon actually this year. And we got the option when they canceled Adepticon, they sent out an email with the option that said, hey, if you can either just donate the money to us, like as a help us out, thank you, we appreciate it, or if you still want your VIP package, we'll send that to you. And it was a little bit later because they had to pack them all, and it's a different operation than what they were set for. But like, Evan and I got our Adepticon packages in, and they're amazing, and there's a bunch of great stuff in it. And it was kind of like in the dark timeline here for me, it was kind of like this beacon of light where it was like,
it was cool.
Oh man, we still got our stuff. Like, and we're gonna go through what was in the Adepticon packs in a second here, but like, I just felt really good about that. But then I was hearing about Nova, and I've never been to Nova, full disclosure for everyone listening. But like, every story I hear from everyone, whether it's a vendor or a participant, it's like, yeah, it's all right, but it's the only thing we got. And I'm like, why is that okay?
Yeah, it's rough because I've been to Nova the past 3 or 4 years now, I think 3. And I honestly, it's funny because me, it's more about because I don't play any of the GW stuff. I'm there for Fantasy Flight generally,
right?
Fantasy Flight or Warlord, and like the area's fine to play in, but Warlord wasn't there last year. A lot of vendors weren't there last year,
right?
Which was kind of a bummer. And that's supposed to be the 10-year, so it was supposed to be like the big one. It kind of felt a little empty compared to the last few. Like they used to do Dark Age guys used to do build and play, which was cool. So you bought a starter, you built it, and you played a mini mock do tournament, and that was really cool because we all bought little starters and we didn't have any idea what we were doing. Yeah. And we're like spraying glue accelerant on everybody. And I was with there a couple couples and some other guys, and it was fun. Like, it was a cool little community building, and we're all learning the rules together. And I'm like, man, that was a really cool event, but that wasn't there, like at all. So that was just kind of a bummer. But with Nova in general, I think I like it because the hotel's nice and I get to play games. But I don't really. I prefer playing games at Adepticon, maybe. But yeah, it was a thing. Like, because I did the Supernova. Like, because it's, dude, to even get a Supernova is kind of nuts, right? You have to get into a queue.
Yeah.
And then you were here, our buddy Nick and I. Yeah. We had our laptops up and he had his phone up. We're desperately trying to get into that first wave because if you bought one last year, you get one this year. Or you get like the first run. And then we didn't get that, and we got the second one. And so we've been looking forward to it all year. And then to say, like Adepticon sent us their stuff, and then there's like, hey, we just didn't get the funding. We didn't get the stuff we needed to put in the bag to get everything. So we're just giving your money back, which you had the option to donate as well. But I just had a huge car bill and also pandemic. So I needed all of mine back. Right. Those tires don't buy themselves. So that was kind of a bummer. But we'll see. Like, we'll see. I don't know. There's still like Origins coming. Maybe who knows anymore? Like, I honestly have no idea.
Well, I know that they just set the date and are starting prep for Las Vegas Open. Yeah. And and we got contacted for that because we do a lot of the Legions, good majority of the Legion stuff. And I was like, I mean, yes, but I don't know. Is it happening?
Like, I want it to, right? It's not. All these things I want to happen. Yeah. Like, I want to be able to have my life back, right? Like, where I got to take my vacation time and schedule it around going to events and having fun, meeting my friends, if you go to enough of these events, you say the same, quote unquote, tryhards. We all go to the same events. But that's part of the fun is to go and see the same people again. You meet your friends like 3 times a year, right? You go out and like eat together. Like, that's the experience. So I got a lot of that taken away. And like, as the Star Wars hockey fan says, like, going to a theme park with a mask on is hot and probably not fun during the summer. But I can't even imagine being in a like a packed room that's already hot, right? And then like you got that on too, and you're just sweating. But like you gotta, right? Like, it's part of the.
Yeah. I mean, there's gonna be I think we're going to have two new kind of futures ahead of us, where what you were just describing with going to these events and, you know, having masks on and Purell in your pocket and all that, right? Yeah. And then the second one is going to be all these events that are going virtual, like Shut Up, Sit Down, right? Like,
shucks. Yeah. Yeah, I believe that's what they said. So I'm hoping that happens. You know, because they'll be announcing that this week, I believe. But I mean, like, I hope they do that. Shucks we were looking forward to that because, like, yeah. I really enjoy Shut Up and Sit Down video reviews. My best way to describe them, if you haven't seen them, if you've seen the British Top Gear, where it's like even if you don't care about cars, it's fun to watch because they have good writing and they kind of like joke around, and it's like if you like cars, you can watch, and if you don't, you can still get something out of it. That's all their video reviews. Definitely recommend checking them out. But we were gonna try to work with them, do like we were gonna go do Legion there.
Yeah.
And then they said, hey, you know, we got some stuff up in the air, so right. we're gonna look at it. And so they said maybe they'll be making an announcement hopefully this week. And you know, maybe we even just do a virtual and we do like a virtual Legion tournament or Learn to Play, or like, you know, I thought about scenarios like you make you take our Scarif board or Scarif mat on TTS, and then you have like, you know, Jin and like do the final stand at like Rogue One, and it's not meant to be fair, right? Like it's you're meant to lose, but like if you can do
so like objective. Like the rebel Rogue One list is like 400 points, and then the Imperial list is like 800.
Yeah, I think you even break the rules and just give them like, you know, like 4 or 5 sets of Pathfinders, and you just like you just go crazy. Like this is your Jin, Cassian, K2, and all the Pathfinders you can fit, and then like they'll have like 2 things of Death Troopers and like all Stormtroopers. Like you,
you can have Pow and Bistan, and one,
just
you
do
something
a
fun
cool
like
goofy game. But I mean that'd be fun. I think you know, we're still working around some stuff. So but yeah, like I think online's going to be, at least for the foreseeable future, which is cool, but it's like
it's not the same.
No, it's not, because I miss going to see people. You know, like that's part of the thing.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I don't know, you know, the hard part has been like, you know, personally, we've had vacations planned that we canceled, and it's like, well, when are we going on that vacation? Like, I don't know. I have no friggin' idea.
All my vacation time was literally saved to go to these events.
Yeah.
Now I've got it. And just to like not blow it all at the end of the year. So like I'm IT, so I don't really get a like a slow time. Like there's always things going on. So I'm like trying to just take like half days and stuff just to like blow it so I can like sit outside again. I don't know. I'm not used to going outside. I'm like, well, what is this?
What is this bright thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, you know, and I think yeah, that's right. So it's been wild and interesting to see how things will mutate, I guess is the best word, from whether it's a live event or whether the event gets postponed. Or, you know, I think similarly to some retail operations, you know, and game stores, like I don't know how a lot of places are going to survive. And I think you're not going to see them shut down immediately, like tomorrow.
Yeah.
But with their losses through the year, like I think that a lot of places are going to struggle to re-up for the next year, right? And so when their taxes at the end of this year come up, they're gonna be like, yeah, I can't do this again.
Yeah, it's you know, it's interesting because I take like my company has done a lot to try to stay relevant and try to stay mobile and reinvent how we do work, because the landscape's changing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'll give credit to like Texas Roadhouse of all places. Like every time there's been a new thing, they've like right now you can go eat outside. They put out like they bought tables and threw them all out there, and they're like, hey, well, you can be this far away and eat. Like I give I think it's going to be, not to get into too much businessy kind of things, but I think you're going to have to really think.
We should get into the business stuff. That's what the people want.
That's Jay's like go-to expertise topic.
It's what I know.
I get scared when we get into arguments or debates. It kind of leads that way because I don't know anything. So I'm like, I'm falling into a water with a bunch of sharks here.
No, Jay. Jay.
Get back on the land.
Stop putting my face in the water.
Here. Get out of there. Like, but it's, you know, you got to really think outside how you do stuff, right? So like take again Texas Roadhouse, they were never really equipped to have an outside like eating area, right? That's not what they do, but they did, you know, they did it, and they did like drive side pickup, they did like delivery, like, you know, they're trying, you know.
Well, and I think, you know, if you look at like some of the stores around us, okay, for instance, we always talk about Just Games in Rochester.
Yep.
Love them.
Yep,
Matt is the man. Like,
super
great store. He actually, during the pandemic, this was one of the coolest things I've seen. He put up a virtual tour of the store. And what it was you would move around the store like Google Maps, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you got to a bookcase, you could, or a case, or shelving, whatever, you could see everything that was on the shelf and click on the thing you wanted and add it to your cart to get shipped.
That's actually really cool.
So it was like you were actually in the store, see what he has in stock. Like, people who can adapt, or it's not just adapting, but it's being diversified enough. And I think this is good for anybody in your basic life too, being diversified enough so that when things change, you can change with it.
Yeah.
And I mean, really, not that I think anything bad is going to happen to Legion, but this was kind of one of our things with moving the podcast to more broad spectrum, was like, we're kind of put all our eggs in one basket when we're talking about Legion every week, right? And so when we see these long droughts where nothing's happening, like right now, I mean, when's the last time we got anything?
Yeah.
Right. And I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
I'm not blaming. I'm not putting blame on FFG. You know, hand of God stuff happened.
Yeah.
But like, we haven't heard anything. What exactly do you want us to talk about? Because I mean, especially us, like Scoundrels can adjust because they'll talk tactics, or, you know, and now they got a completely new format, which has been great. If you guys haven't had a chance to listen to Scoundrels, I recommend it. But like, they've got a new format. They're doing great. But like, it's like, I was kind of getting tired of like, I don't know, Evan, what do you want to talk about this week, guy?
We get, before we would cast, be like, we'd start like making outline about what we wanted to do, and we got to the point where it's, well, because we're going to talk about, we don't want to repeat what Scoundrels is saying, because then if you listen to both of us, you're getting the same thing twice.
Well, if you listen to any of the however many Legion podcasts are out now, there's a good chance there's going to be some repeats.
Yeah, like, and it's, you know, there's, I do commend the guys who like start making up like their own scenarios, and like War Corgi keeps putting out good content, like, you know, and Krebach keeps putting out good content. Like, I recommend and also admire that. But also, like, there hasn't been a new unit really like officially released. You know, there's nothing to like speculate. Like, TTS has been a fantastic thing, especially right now. But like, man, like, playing in real life it's like TTS makes things faster and slower. And then like real life makes things faster and slower. Like, playing Oak and Ire on TTS is about as good as it's gonna get. Like, that's how you move it. But when you're trying to like, you know, move your ship, like navigating around. But when we played in real life, it's like done, right? Like, it's not the people who make the mods' fault. Like, it's just the limitations of the tool, right? So
correct.
And like same thing with TTS is like, Legion for TTS. It's like I can understand. Like, I like playing on there, but I really want to play in real life again. That's how I can really feel. Right. If like, something's good or bad. Like, it's just how I do it. So.
Well, and that's, I mean, that was one of my rants, right?
But,
before we switched.
Alert, ARCs are really good.
Yeah. Just maybe broken.
Invest in ARCs. Put all your dollar dues in ARCs.
But yeah, so let's see. You know, the other thing, let's talk about what makes a game good.
Okay.
Let's stick in the miniature realm.
Okay.
Miniatures game. So what, Evan, I want you to give me one. I'm throwing this at Evan off the cuff. He didn't know this was coming at him. Give me one thing right now that when you look or play with a miniature game that it sells you. What's the thing?
Okay, so I'm going to answer this with 4 things.
Oh, for God's sake. Can't even listen to instructions.
I totally ignored you.
Okay, go ahead.
So, or maybe 3, I forget how many it is. There's pillars of a miniature game in all aspects that I was told once, and I really started thinking about it. One is the hobby aspect. Like, are the models cool? Are they fun to paint? Do you have creativity? Can, like, all that kind of stuff. Like, some people buy models just to paint them and they don't play. That's fine, cool, awesome. The rules, right? So is it fun? Okay. Does it make sense? Is it smooth? Is it fiddly? And then the third is sportsmanship of the players. Like, are people like reasonable to play with? Do you have rules, like floor rules, like, hey man, if you be a jerk, like, you're gonna tell you to get lost, kind of thing. So with those 3, if you lose any one of those, it all falls apart, right? Like for the kind of games we talk about, like miniature games, right? So that said, to me, the most important thing for me is because I don't enjoy painting. I've tried, man. You're gonna see my Oak and Iron ships, and you're probably gonna cringe, but that's just what it is. I can get along with just about anybody. So sportsmanship is fine for me, but it's the rules. Like, if as long as it's smooth, and when I'm teaching it to somebody, the thing I hate the most is they'll say like, "Well, I want to take this action." I'm like, "Oh, here's 9 other things you can do off that." Like the amount of flexibility is cool, but like honestly, like give Legion like credit here, right? Like it's here's your list of actions. Move, you move your dude. Shoot, you aim and shoot. Like that's it, right? It's very like aim, let you reroll, dodge, mindset hit. Like it's very streamlined, and it's a testament to the game design that children can learn it. Like their parents can teach their daughters or sons or like how to play, and like we have a couple guys out in Rochester who have their kids with them, and they're playing the tournament. And yeah, it's like, you're playing like, oh god, I gotta play a 7-year-old. Here we go. But like they can get it, right? Like they may not be good, but there's like move guy and fire. But like it's not this bizarre concept of how it actually works. And like the dice are symbols,
right?
Love or hate that, right? It's just like that's a hit, and then
it's instantly recognizable.
Yeah, it's just easy to figure out. So to me, like smooth rules are more like I'll play a game sometimes because I like the rules, even if I don't enjoy the game, like the actual like gameplay. Because I'm like, well, it's just really easy to play, and like I think I actually hate Splendor, but it's so smooth that I keep playing it. And I don't like when we get to go, like I'll bring it over to my buddy's house and we'll drink and play Splendor for like hours. Yeah. And then I'll get like, I don't get mad when we lose. I'm like, man, I'm good. And then like tomorrow, the next day I'll be like, yo, but Splendor though. Right. And so we get Splendor and we keep playing again. And I'm like, if I'm having fun, I'm not sure. But like, man, it's just so like snappy. And like your turn it's not like a Talisman where let's say you're playing like 4 or 5 people around the table, and then somebody takes a turn and it goes somebody else, and then you have nothing to do, and like you're just waiting, right? And like maybe you lost your turn, so then you have to wait a whole nother round of people. Like smooth rules are my thing of
So okay, I'm gonna take the business side of this and give my 3 pillars.
Okay,
are you ready?
I'm hitting it. Yeah.
So here's my 3 pillars of success for a game, and it has nothing to do with the game experience like Evan's was, but mine is business wise. So 1 is cost.
Okay.
Is it reasonable that a normal human can get into the game for under $100?
Yep. Okay.
Right?
Yep.
And reasonably go play.
Yeah.
2, is it available? Where can I get it?
Yeah.
Is it gonna, like, if I have to get it shipped, is it gonna cost me an arm and a leg to ship it? Is it available through distribution so that like my local shop can get it for me? Like, can I get it? And then 3 is future proofing. So, and what I mean by that is I find like some games will design their core rule set in a way that in order to expand, they have to break their own rules.
Like you almost immediately get power creep.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I think I think, a way to fix that is something last week we suggested for Oak and Iron is a living rule book, right?
Yep.
Like you should have a living rule book, because sometimes things happen that as smart as we think we are, there's always someone smarter, right? Yep. And so you can test the crap out of a game, but then, John Smith down the road is going to come and like come up with some crazy imaginative way to break it. And you're like, damn, I did not think of that. Like
new entry.
Right.
Point number 5.
But if you have a living document, and the expectation is you always have a living document.
Yeah.
No problem, right? So future proofing it kind of fits in that mold. And I think all successful games combine the 3 pillars that each of us have, and that's how they become successful, right? Mm-hmm. At least in the beginning. And then once they're so strong, they can do like they literally can break their own game and 40K and like and then but they're still fine because everybody loves it, and not forgiving, but is like there's a new set coming out. I bet you they fixed the rules. Like,
well, it's it's funny about that. So I have a love-hate with 40K, and so I'm trying to get back into it, and I'm starting fresh, starting from the ground up. Yeah. I said I've got Marines. I'm going to do them White Scar because motorcycles are cool.
Right? Don't
at me with a con. So I'm going to do that, and our buddy Bailey, who we'll have on next week, who's really big into 40K. He's been mentoring me. He's like, hey man, like we're gonna try some basic games, because I tried to get into it, I didn't like it, but I think it was just the army I built for myself, and like where I like a lot of things went in that made a bad experience. man, 40k is just one of those weird things like magic cards, right? Like they can accidentally like do stuff that's not fun, like rules, like it just things happen, right? And then wipe it with a new rule set, and you have to buy the books again, and people keep doing it because I think it's investment. Like I'm so invested, but also it's such a staple, right? Like the world could go into complete anarchy, but 40k and magic cards will always be keeping shops open. So as much as I love and hate it, I have to respect it.
Right.
Some people can actually like make a life off of like supporting that game.
Yeah.
Either one of those two. So like I have this weird like, I'm like 40k, but I'm also 40k. New units?
It's strange, right? It's like I don't know. They're just those like the Ford and Chevy of like
always there no matter
they've
what.
been there since 1908 and they'll always be here. And and because I think they adapt well, right?
That's actually a big thing,
right?
It's you see a lot of games die, like a lot of living, like a lot of collectible card games come out. Like look at Destiny, right? They came out, they did Too Big to Fail. Like man, I wonder how many times people have said too big to fail only to fail. Right. But they're able to change it. They pretty much set the precedence. When you buy into 40k, they're like, that book is probably good for about 2 years. Like right, like there's a precedent set and they can change it.
So here's where to Nick's point in chat, right? There's too big to fail, where, and that term I think comes from like because they didn't adapt, like they've just been an institution, so they've stayed the same. I think the reason why Magic and 40k or Warhammer in general have so much longevity is because they recycle their rules every so many years, right? Like it's like, okay, here's the new set of Magic, there's new rules. Here's the new set of 40k, here's the new rules. So when you update the rules, it freshens it again for everyone. Where like I think that's why they have longevity, and that's why they stay, because they're not just antiquated, they're not just sitting back. Like for God's sakes, Magic Wizards of the Coast hired someone from Microsoft to run their division, and they're doing Magic Arena and like the online stuff, which is huge now, right? So being able to adapt, even if you're like behind the times a little bit, because even like with Age of Sigmar for Warhammer, they made the rules free online. You just get the PDF, right? That's adapting to that's adapting to the system. And I mean, and to Nick's point in chat, he's saying they had the 8th edition rule book that like lasted only a few months. And I mean, they came out with 8th edition for Warhammer fantasy, and then like Age of Sigmar, like it was like nothing. But it was, I think I hated it, a lot of people hated it, but it was a move that I think they needed to make as a company to adjust to Infinity at the time. Legion hadn't come out, it was on its way, I'm sure they knew about it, and to bolt action, right? So they needed to make an adjustment into more of a skirmish based, less of an army, platoon based.
No, sure. Well, so it's Age of Sigmar and things like that, it's very divisive, right?
I haven't even, as soon as they changed it and I saw the rules for Age of Sigmar, I'm like, I'm never playing this game again. Like I was like, goodbye.
Did you really like the Magic rules of 8th edition? Those were real obnoxious.
Yes, because I played orcs and goblins, and it was right. Okay. They didn't have.
Oh, so you just got to ignore that part. Okay, cool.
So I got to ignore it. The other thing that I really liked about 8th edition was they slimmed the rules a little bit and just kind of made it a little bit easier to play the game we all love. Like 7th edition was hot trash. 6th edition was really good. But 8th was kind of like, I feel like almost like 5th edition D&D, where they took, they took all the best and the worst lessons learned. And I thought in 8th edition, they were kind of making those changes, and I thought maybe with a 9th edition that they could clear it up a little bit more. Like I felt like they were on the way, right? And then Age of Sigmar dropped, and it's like, this is a new game. Hey, remember your $3,000-$4,000 that you've dropped into an army or a couple armies? Yeah, guess what? It doesn't matter anymore. You can now play these guys with these guys and these guys and you're like, dude, are you kidding me right now?
I mean, so I had a point, then I was listening to you and I totally lost it. No, it's okay. It's fine. But
sometimes I go off on tangents.
Well, Infinity's going through that right now too, right? Like the new edition of rules is coming, and they said, hey, only 4 factions or so at launch are going to be we're gonna have rules out and we're gonna roll them out, right? Because this is how we're gonna do it. And we're lucky with Legion that there's 4 factions. 2 of them are brand new, right? Like the odds are they won't rotate out a faction because there's only 4 factions. So that's important. But the other thing with that is like it's okay, right? Like you'll get them eventually. And then to that point also, 40K used to be just a model company, really. Like I don't mean that in general, but 2 years ago, or it was last year, the last CEO was about models and not so much about game. And I remember not liking it. Then this new CEO came in and man, we've got Underworlds, we've got those board games, like the Space Hulk, the Black Spire out, like just a lot of cool stuff. Like they're really expanding and trying new things with the models. You can even go to Barnes and Nobles now and buy like a 40K like Space Marine adventure game. You can get Blood Bowl for Barnes and Nobles now, right? Like you can go and buy Blood Bowl. They have like a Blood Bowl Blitz, which is a smaller Blood Bowl. Like I really respect the fact that whoever took over, I don't know his name off the top of my head, unfortunately. He really turned it into like a game company again. And man, like I used to think I'd never get into it, but now I'm like, it's just like you can go and just find stuff. Like it's neat. It's Dan Wolf. It's go to Barnes and Noble. It's to me it's I honestly have better experiences there when I bought. I got a lot of flack when I bought from different online groups when I bought my X-Wing stuff when they got Barnes and Noble's got first before my local stores. But my local store doesn't really care about my game X-Wing at the time. They didn't really get new stuff in, and like they canceled our events for other events. Barnes and Nobles didn't run events, but they have to be nice to me because they're like a retail store. So it was always nice to like not feel ashamed for buying a product. But and to that point too, it's just cool that they're saying, hey, let's say you're walking around like a store or like Target, and you walk into like the board game aisle and you see like a 40K game. Like you may not go into a local store to like a FLGS ever, but once you buy that core set at a Target or a Barnes and Noble, that'll bring you to the local store to get the other models, right? Like get the core set. Like where do I go from here? All my X-Wing stuff originally came from Barnes and Noble. Then I got into it and I started doing the circuits in the local stores. So I really actually respect just trying to get the core sets out there to bring people into the locals, but just expanding where you sell like that was a big thing for me.
Yeah. So it's funny, we're on this topic. I wanted to bring this up. So we placed an order, like I said at the beginning of the podcast, we're opening our retail store. And so we placed an order with Warlord Games. I got a bunch of Bolt Action, Blood Red Skies, Crimson Seas. We're going to be selling next week. I was talking to our rep, and he was like, just kind of get to know me, like asking me about games. And he's like, what was your favorite game? I'm like, fantasy, Warhammer Fantasy. He sent me this book called Warlords Erewhon Rulebook. Now, Evan, you know a little bit more about this than I do, but apparently I can take all my fantasy stuff and use it in this system with their rules.
So what it's like is it's actually it's if you ever played Frostgrave or any of the Osprey published games where they're like, just bring whatever models you own. We'll make rules. We don't want to make the models, but we'll make to Osprey's thing. They do make Frostgrave models now, but they didn't before. Like just whatever you got, you can play it. And so what this game is a fantasy skirmish game, so smaller armies, but they pretty much say whatever models you got, as long as they kind of look like the faction you're in, you're good to go. Like skeletons, like just have skeletons. Like it doesn't.
So these are the factions. They got barbarians, beastmen, dwarves, elves, gnolls, goblins, halflings, knights, Olympians, orcs, undead, and monsters. That's the.
I think funny beastmen and the gnolls are two different factions, but. How are gnolls big enough where they're like, man, what am I gonna do with all these gnolls? I guess if you have D&D, you probably got some gnolls who are pretty common, like early enemy. So you've got like gnolls hanging around.
Yeah, I mean, I got tons of D&D. Like hundreds and hundreds of. I don't see Skaven on here. I think they would be
rat men. They're not Skaven. They are rat people.
I would guess they're under monsters, but like. Dude, this thing is so cool. So we're going to look into this. I'd like to get a game or two on the table with this. And then if we really like it, what I'll do is we'll buy into it and we'll start selling it as well. I definitely want to play a game. I got to read through the rule. It's not bad. It's like 100 pages or 200 page book. And it's got all the army rules in it and everything. So
it's a one book for everything, which is nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna look into this. I have 2 whole shelves of Warhammer Fantasy over there that I can get out, and we can build some armies and get a game in. But I'm really excited about this, because if it's what they're saying and what you're saying it is, this could be big, and I think this might be something we want to get into.
You know what would be nice? Getting into a miniatures game where you didn't have to buy a whole nother set of miniatures. Right, like that's cool. Like I've got all these like Underworlds figures that I have. Long story short, you buy Underworld's warbands to get cards. You may not even ever use a warband, but hey, I could probably use them here. Or D&D, I've got skeletons. Man, D&D skeletons, zombies, gnolls, like anything, right? Any of those like goblins, any of those low-level monsters that you need a ton of generally. Hey, guess what? You can actually play like a game with them. That's what really brought me to Frostgrave, was being able to play with anything I owned.
Yeah, well, and it's interesting because part of the thing I was thinking about with this too is a couple things. One, not only all the Warhammer Fantasy stuff that I have, like, guys, I legitimately, like, Evan, look over there.
Got a shelf of just unopened products.
Like, like I have at least 30 boxes of unopened products.
Is that a starter set?
There's like 3 or 4 over there. Yeah,
just done. Okay.
So that's a Dark Elf starter set. I have a Wood Elf starter set. I have an Empire starter set. I have a Bretonnian starter set. I have a Tomb King starter set. I have a 3,000 point Orc and Goblin army. I have at least 3,000 points of Empire and Dark Elves and Wood Elves.
Jeez.
Like I mean, I was building up, but this is over time, right? Like I didn't just go to the store
and just
one day.
Give me it all.
Yeah, no. I mean, I was building, and then actually, what I did was when 8th edition went out, a bunch of shit dropped in price on eBay, and so I was just buying up stuff. I was just buying up stuff on eBay too at the time. And so, because I was like, when 8th edition went away and I knew they were changing the models and stuff, I was still planning on playing 8th edition. So I was like, oh man, I should invest in this just in case I want to keep this going. So I have a ton of stuff. I'm trying to think, there's something else I have, but anyways, I was thinking with this Arrow on, I could combine, like, I have tons of D&D figures. I have tons of that Massive Darkness that came out. It's got tons of stuff in it. Like, just we can throw away the
game rules and play the
Massive Darkness can kiss my butt. But like anything cool anytime. And so I'm really excited to get this, to read this book and get this on the table too. If anyone out there's played it,
let us know.
Send us a note, because I'd like to know.
They launched it around Adepticon last year, and I remember I went to the booth between playing and streaming, and I'm like, I'll take one of those books, and they were out. And I'm like, well, 2 things: either they didn't bring a bunch, or it's popular enough that people wanted it.
Yeah. So
I'm hoping it's popular. But then again, the worst part about all these games we're talking about is like where we are in America, like the East Coast, more or less, like unless it's 40K or FFG, not popular. You go to like the UK, man, like everything, right? Like there's a group for everything there. So we're hoping to change that, maybe get some more light on some of these games that are really cool. Especially like, man, if the buy-in's just a book and I can use the stuff I already have, okay, I'll try something for like
$40, and like
$50.
So it tells you how to set up battlefields. It's kind of using the red and blue side, like
like everything.
But it's a 6x4, so anything you got now, like it can work. It's got tons of scenarios set up in here. It's got terrain descriptions and how to do terrain.
And they sell miniatures for this game that are Warlord based, but like they don't really care. Like it's just kind of whatever you got, which is cool.
Okay, so here, like for instance, I freaking love this. In this scenario, the objective for both sides is to slay a great beast, cut out its magical heart, and return home with the prize. The beast is dangerous, blah, blah, blah. It can attack either side. The opposing players must try to capture the prize if they can, but neither side wants the heart to fall in the enemy's hands.
Man, so that's super...
both sides fight to confront and slay a terrible monster. Before carrying its grisly remains back to their starting edge to claim the victory, the monster will defend itself and will attack units nearby if they get too close. So, like, I have giants.
Yeah.
Or
or dragons or
I have I have all kinds of crazy stuff
that reminds me.
Use.
If anyone who's listening listens to Stormlight Archives or read Stormlight Archives, fantastic book. But in the earlier books, they were killing these giant crab monsters to take these hearts that they're like crystal that they could use to sell. That just really reminded me of that, because you could actually do a human. You can actually make like a Stormlight battle with this, from what it sounds like, and that's super cool. Like, I'm kind of really in on that, because the pen and paper for that's coming out soonish, was announced, and they also had an expansion for Days of Wonder. No, another game that's pretty cool. But no, that's no, I'm in on that, man. That sounds pretty neat.
Yeah, and I mean, and they got point systems. Like, they really thought it out. Like, so they have it built for normal game is 1,000 points, but they have it up to 2,000 or as low as 200, depending on how you want to play.
That's cool.
So like, it's really interesting. They have tons of like, they have the same as like Warhammer Fantasy used to have with the charts for how to build your armies, what their strengths and resistances and all that stuff, their range increments, all the keywords that they have. Like I was just looking at barbarians. They have beastmen.
That's cool.
I mean, there's just a ton of, it's a lot like Warhammer Fantasy, but it looks like it's more of a skirmish. You can use models that are already out there in the world. Like, I mean, this is incredible. I'm really excited about this.
It's cool. It's one of those games that's you can buy the book and try it, and then with stuff you own, because you could even use like Space Marines or something. It doesn't matter, right? Like, just anything you want, right? It's like, just like, oh, these are humans with guns, and that's a dude with a sword, right? Like,
so I think gnolls are ratmen. To go back.
Oh, is that what they're
yeah, that's what they look like here.
Man, that super reminds me of 40K, not 40K, End Times, the Warhammer Fantasy first edition role-playing game, just had a re-release, and it was super cool. I got a couple friends who swear up and down by it, like, this is the best pen and paper we've ever played. And then, but it took so long to get released. This other guy came out and made his own version of it, but nothing, it's all like knockoff. So it's like, they're not Skaven, they're like the rat people, and they're not orcs, they're these things, and they say war instead of wog, like like, you're right, it's very funny. Like, and it's and people say that's pretty good too. So it's like, hey, we're kind of like that, but not really. Also player game.
And the interesting thing about this game too is I like the mix and match. Like, they have barbarians, they have knights, they have Olympians, which is like Roman kind of, an Amazonians. Cool. It looks like a mix with like weird shit like harpies and centaurs.
I've actually got a bunch of Hail Caesar miniatures, because I want.
Yeah,
one of my many things I was going to do was I bought the Warlord Hail Caesar book, and it's all like old timey, like barbarians versus the Romans. I'm like, this will be cool. Then I realized that sell of a realistic like skirmish game was a real hard sell, and everybody around here who wanted to play space Marines and aliens. So I've got a bunch of like Roman soldiers, like, just
I mean, and it's kind of it seems like it's a little bit of what Fantasy did with Age of Sigmar, where they kind of combine, like, they have undead, right? Like, it's so that would be Tomb Kings and vampire counts, right? Like, you could come out, kind of combine that, which is fine. But like, and then monsters have their own warband in this, which is freaking cool. So like, elf hero riding a dragon, so that could be dark elves. Yep, I do. I have the
yes, I sure do.
I have the Hydra too. But like Cyclops, that's the giants. Like, you can build giant spiders. That's from gigantic spiders. That's from orcs and goblins.
Yep.
They got ghouls, giant rats, dragon, golems. So like, dude, I'm ogre. So ogres are in this one.
You're all ogre it.
Hydra, yep. Werven. So that's from you can bring that over from orcs and goblins. Yep. Like, giant tree men. So now you got
the Ents
from wood elves, and so I'm pretty excited about horned dinosaurs. That's dark elves. So like, there's a lot of stuff in here that I'm really excited. So I think we have a whole freaking list of games that we got to get in, but this is definitely on the top of my list right now. So we got to get a game of Oak and Iron in for the stream. We've got Blood and Plunder that we got to get in for the stream. Band of Brothers. We have Crimson or Blood Red Skies.
Blood Red Skies.
Cruel Seas. There's a lot of games we got to get in. I'm really excited about this. I think right now, so out of all the ones we've talked about, this Erewhon and Conflict 47 are probably the two. The Oak and Iron has been great. That's why I'm not putting it in that list, because we've already been playing it. Yeah. So Erewhon and Conflict 47 are the two I'm really excited to play next.
Yeah, I've actually got all that conflict stuff. That's good. Is there also a rule set for Century Night Fantasy? I think it's called 90. I believe there is. I know there's so many like when a game changes, so many splinter factions.
Yeah, yeah.
Like there's people who still play X-Wing 1.0, and I call them savages because I just can't. But it's funny because I'm looking at all the stuff and I'm like, man, when are we gonna, like, it's such a, like, I have to paint now. Yeah, it was painted because I wanted to, but now it's like, well, I can't put, as much as you've seen every time I play, I generally have naked miniatures because I'm just
well, so let me ask chat if you guys want to write in for us, for those of you listening right now. Are you guys okay with seeing not painted miniatures on stream? Because that's the biggest concern we've been having, is where we want to play, but we kind of want to get the miniatures painted up. Especially Oak and Iron's not as big of an issue because it's got white sails and a brown body.
They look, to be fair, they look okay.
Right, but like Blood and Plunder, they're pewter, so they're just going to be silver, right? So like I've been wondering that, because we don't have a ton of time. We have full-time jobs on top of doing all this. So the question is, would you guys mind, and if you're listening to this on the replay, send us a note. Like, do you mind if we play?
If you just want to see the game. Like,
if you just want to see the game without painted miniatures, we'd be.
Look, water will wick right off. Please throw code.
Don't worry, you didn't need to tell him to do that. He'll do it anyways.
Well, I bought it. I mean, I gotta use it now.
But yeah, so anyway, so that's just some thoughts on that. Yeah. Fair. So anyways, so yeah, that's what. You got anything else? Oh, you want to talk about what we got at Adepticon?
Sure. Yeah.
So go ahead. So we were supposed to go to Adepticon. We were going to have a table there actually and sell stuff, but that didn't work out. But we both got the packages, so we got our Adepticon stuff in. And this is for people who don't get to go to these shows, or maybe considering going to like an Adepticon or a Gen Con and
bigger box,
getting like the VIP package. So this is the kind of stuff you get in it.
So we got 2 coasters.
Yeah,
I know, right? We got a.
You know how much I love coasters.
Got a sticker. All right, got a couple stickers. Actually, one of the big things we got is a Fate of a Nation, the Arab-Israel Wars miniature game. I'm actually like,
it's a book, by the way.
Yeah, low key. I'm super interested in this because there's a game called Team Yankee that I've been looking at for a while. I keep it's just one of the many things I want to play that I just don't have time to get into. But this is that looks like, but you have jets and tanks, and I'm kind of in. It looks like almost like Flames of War, except very specific to a theater. But hey, cool. Like that book is like $40. That's cool. Yeah. We got a Hulk and Venom Marvel Crisis Protocol.
So those came in two different boxes,
ones,
right? So each box got either a Hulk or a Venom, and then what's not in the box, we each got an expansion to God tier too, right? So we got 2 different God tier expansions, which was nice.
They had the full starters for God tier. We got 2 of the starters. We got Keyforge. Yep. I don't know if we place. Yeah. It's dude. Well, one day, man. One day, Mike will actually play a lot of these. Yeah. We got a commemorative pin, a couple commemorative coins, some paint, and a bunch of what's really cool is one-off miniatures for different games. Like Warcaster is one. Actually, she looks pretty cool. A good leader. Greetings from Starfall. That's another miniature we got one off of. Another one is from Adepticon Metal Limited Edition. Inquisitor's Sister Joan. That's cool. Like you can use as a 40K.
Yeah.
We also got some just scenic bases. That's pretty sweet. Attack of the Necron, a Warhammer adventure for the youngins.
Yep.
It's grim dark, but not too bad. Warhammer Adventures, City of Lifestone. Look, they got a little.
Look what they did.
Got a little Warcast Stormcast guy. Got a little Barbarin.
Barbarin.
You know, the worst part is I was going to read this just to make fun of it, and then I started reading it, and I'm like, but what happens to Tim? And I think that's got some more stickers in here.
Keyforge, yeah.
Got Keyforge deck. I mean, it was a lot of cool stuff. The year before we went, it was Legion starters they gave away, and the year before that, it was Song of Ice and Fire and that other board game. I don't.
Oh yeah, we got Invasion.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, we just got to copy that.
So I guess what we're saying is we're not trying to like flex, do a weird flex here on you guys. It's just educational. Like if you're going to a show and there's like $100 upgrade, I guarantee you are going to get your money's worth at Adepticon. 100%. You're gonna get your money on it, so go for it. But yeah, I think that's it, guys. We're looking at new games. We've got some 2-3 interviews we're working on lining up. So we got 2 or 3 interviews coming up of different games. I don't want to give them away yet because I don't know which order they're going to come in or what they're going to.
Yeah.
So we'll have more people on. We're going to introduce you to more games. We're going to keep talking about the games we're playing now. And like I said, our store is going to expand starting next week. So check that out. Thank you all for joining us. If you joined us live, and thank you for listening to us on the replay. You guys are awesome, and thanks for supporting us and sticking with us. We love
honestly,
you. Not you, Nick L, but everyone else we love.
I didn't realize he was grammar police, to tell you the truth. All this time I didn't police been calling all the games he's unpainted in his game room. Dude, my shelf is just so much gray.
Do you know what helps that?
What?
Those new paints that Citadel put out before the contrast paints. So I was thinking about this because I was like, shit, we got a ton of stuff to paint. Hey Connor, we got a ton of stuff to paint.
Oh, hey guy.
Hey Connor. Well, we're gonna have you over soon to get on a live stream in, buddy. We got all this stuff to paint, like God tier, and Og and I. I'm like, contrast paints. I gotta get some more of the spray and just start contrasting things and getting it done.
Star Wars hockey. It's I need to get an airbrush. I think everyone kept telling me to do it. I'm like, no, I'm gonna do it the old-fashioned way. And then like I got through like one German soldier. I'm like, dude, Jesus. I'm like, knock it over. But you'll see God tier soon from us, I think.
Yeah, we're working on something with that. So, all right, everybody, thank you so much for listening. We will be at probably our normal time next week. Next week we're gonna have Matt Bailey over
from
on the podcast from our 40K podcast because 40K is coming out with a new. What is it?
Jeez,
I don't even care. What is it?
It's 9th edition, my dude. Okay. So there'll be a there tomorrow. I think I don't know. Check their Twitch. They're going to be showing.
I could care less.
They're going to be showing the new box, the new Necron Space Marine box.
So, we have another podcast, Seize the Initiative. That's a 40K podcast. I don't care about 40K, but I know you guys might, and it's cool to introduce you guys into new stuff. So Matt from our other podcast is going to come on and talk about 40K.
Yes, he is. He'll be on. He's a cool dude, so we'll be there, and hopefully we'll have some more people on soon.
Maybe, you know what, Nick? Maybe Matt can convince me next week on the podcast. So I'll let you know how it goes.
Excellent.
We good? All right. Yep. So we'll talk to you guys next week. Thank you so much.
Everyone, stay rad.